meaningless reason. Nobody feel left out is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's all we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WB. And all the things that will free up and like I got blue skies. I know we make people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling. WB. Get up. Make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play your role. Get where you need to. You can tune in from work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait? It's a time calling. It's a show with no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WB. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show, my people. Belize our hope, so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out is the vibe we dealing.
Good morning and welcome to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes here at XTV at 3304 Amandala Drive, Southside Belize City. Time for Wake Up Belize, like physically, mentally, spiritually. Wake Up Belize is our time, community time, talk show time. I'm Sister YaYa, Marin Coleman, sitting in for Most High this week. On Monday, March 31st, 2025, the last day of March and the 14th week, I believe, yes, of 2025. So thank you for being with us this morning. We're simulcasting on Creme Radio, live streaming on XTV Belize Facebook page and XTV Belize YouTube. So I have no reason for the date. We're from now until 9 o'clock this morning. The lineup is pretty much the same. We'll have the weather forecast from the Belize National Meteorological Service, and our forecaster this morning is Krista Rosales, and then we'll go into our news brief for the morning.
Generally fair and dry weather continues over the country. In the 24-hour forecast, skies will be mostly sunny today and then clear to partly cloudy tonight. Showers, if any, will be isolated, along with a medium chance of an isolated thunderstorm developing over the Maya Mountains this afternoon or evening. And then high temperatures for today will reach around 88 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 96 degrees Fahrenheit inland, and then 81 degrees Fahrenheit in the mountains. For tonight, low temperatures will reach around 80 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 74 degrees Fahrenheit inland, and then 68 degrees Fahrenheit in the hills. Winds over the open sea will be from the east to southeast at 10 to 20 knots, becoming gusty at times, and then sea conditions will be moderate to rough. So operators of small crafts are advised to exercise caution. High tides occur at 10:50 this morning and then at 12:19 tomorrow morning. Low tides at 6:06 this evening and then at 5:34 tomorrow morning. And then moonrise is at 7:21 this morning and moonset at 8:43 tonight, while sunset will be at 6:05 this evening and sunrise at 5:47 tomorrow morning. And then in the extended forecast, similar weather conditions are expected for Tuesday and Tuesday night. And now for the fire risk forecast. The risk of forest or brush fires will be low to moderate for Tuesday. And in the sargassum update, the chance of more sargassum affecting beaches across the country remain high as satellite imagery and surface observations continue to show an increase in sargassum mats over the area. This has been this morning's weather report from the National Meteorological Service.
The first private radio since 1989. Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association, BSCFA, has asked to meet with the Prime Minister, along with Agricultural Minister Jose Mai and Minister of State Dr. Osmond Martinez, who is now responsible for the day-to-day oversight of the sugar industry after Mai was stripped of the portfolio. In a release issued Saturday, the BSCFA reacts to the Prime Minister's comments about their March 25th letter to him, stating that while they respect the position of the Prime Minister and the immense responsibilities he carries, the concerns they raised are not personal. The association writes that those concerns, quote, reflect the serious concerns of our farmers whom we represent, particularly in relation to the alignment with multinational interests to the extent of impact to our highest levels of parliament. It's crucial for all voices, regardless of status, to contribute to the national dialogue, especially when it concerns the well-being of the people we serve, end quote. They added, quote, as the leader of our country, our Prime Minister's perspective is invaluable, but so too is the feedback and criticism that can guide us towards actions that safeguard the livelihood of our farmers. Open dialogue and understanding, rather than dismissal, will ensure that we all move forward together for the betterment of our farmers, industry, and country, end quote. The BSCFA has proposed a meeting date of Friday, April 4th, or at the earliest convenience of the officials. The police department confirmed Saturday that 2 police officers and a civilian were detained and are being questioned in connection with the latest suspected drug plane landing in Belize. Reports are that one is an inspector and the other a sergeant, one of them belonging to the anti-narcotics unit. The Grumman Gulfstream II, a twin-engine business jet, was described by the department as a high-performance aircraft. They reported that on Wednesday, March 26, at approximately 9:23 p.m., the illicit aircraft was detected departing South America, and in response, the Joint Intelligence and Operations Center, JIOC, activated its operational plan, deploying security forces nationwide. The aircraft was then noted entering Belizean airspace just after midnight on March 27, before crossing over into Guatemalan airspace, where its track faded. However, on Thursday, just before 3 o'clock a.m., a large fire was observed near the Belize-Guatemala border. A Belize Defense Force BDF aircraft and a joint enforcement team were dispatched to the location where they discovered the burnt wreckage of the aircraft. A Belize City resident identified as 34-year-old fisherman Elvis Aldana was gunned down Saturday night in the Old Capital. Reports are that Aldana was at a mechanic shop at the corner of Electric Avenue and McKay Boulevard when he was targeted by a lone gunman. Residents said they heard at least 3 gunshots. Police are investigating. Meanwhile, down south, there was a fatal stabbing in Pomona Village, Stan Creek, Sunday evening. The victim was identified as young Santiago Limas. Reports are that he was stabbed by someone he knew. A teenager tragically lost his life after going for a swim moments after being baptized. Reports are that a small congregation from the Queen Street Baptist Church had gone to conduct the baptismal ceremony in Rockville off the George Price Highway Saturday. Moments after, several people from the group went for a swim, but they soon realized that 16-year-old Caden Stewart had gone underwater and did not resurface. Searches were conducted, and his body was subsequently retrieved from the river. Caden was a student at E.P. York High School. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, who is the current chairperson of CARICOM, has written to U.S. President Donald Trump asking for the Caribbean to be exempt from a proposed U.S. levy on Chinese-built ships. The proposal is one part of Trump's port fee plan to charge operators anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million per port call in the U.S. if they have any Chinese-made vessel in their fleet. PM Motley says the tax could disrupt regional commerce, inflate import costs, and destabilize supply chains. The matter was also discussed last week when U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio visited Jamaica. Also last week, the Atlantic Council and Tropical Shipping met with CARICOM ambassadors and the CARICOM Private Sector Organization, CPSO, in Washington to discuss the issue. The CEO of CPSO, Dr. Patrick Antoine, said the impact for the Caribbean could be far worse than the disruptions occasioned by COVID-19 when shipping costs exponentially increased because the increase in this case could be in place for some time. He noted that most sectors rely on companies operating at least one Chinese-built vessel, which could mean that $1 million fine could apply per port call. One shipping agency, Seaboard Marin, has already warned that the proposed fee could put them out of business as they would stare down taxes of $3.6 billion per year or $69 million per week. Their other options would be passing the increased cost to customers and or radically changing how they do business. Motley is making the point that because our trade structures are served primarily by small container ships operated by U.S.-based firms in Florida, they would also stand to be impacted. A second Haitian police officer deployed under the UN-backed Haitian Multinational Security Support Mission, MSS, has been killed in the Caribbean country. Reports are that Benedict Kabiru was killed last week in an ambush by suspected gang members that have actually been determined to be paramilitary groups resourced with weapons smuggled from the U.S. A message from Haiti's Presidential Transitional Council, CPT, read, quote, "This valiant policeman committed to the side of the Haitian forces to fight against insecurity has made the ultimate sacrifice for a better future," end quote. Kenyan police officers first reached Haiti in June last year to lead the mission. A first Kenyan police officer was killed in February this year. Notably, while funding from the U.S. for the mission held in a UN trust is on hold, the United States continues to provide direct funding for the mission through the State Department. On Tuesday evening, Kenyan President William Ruto and U.S. State Secretary Marco Rubio reaffirmed their commitment to the mission. Around 800 Kenyan police officers are deployed in Haiti, along with members of security forces from El Salvador, Jamaica, Bahamas, Guatemala, and other countries. Belize has 2 senior BDF officers on the ground in Haiti. And that brings us to the end of this morning's news brief prepared by the XTV newsroom under the directorship of our sister Maricela Maya, who is the news director. Immediately after this program ends at 9 o'clock, you could get more news from Crumb Radio by the Morning Stew from 9 to 12. And then at 12:30, there's a full news package on Crumb Radio. At 3 o'clock, there's a news brief. And at 5:15, there's a full news package. At 6 o'clock this evening, there's a full news package here at XTV. We'll take a short break and return to open the phone lines and have our community reasoning this morning.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. The news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports.
back to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes for this Monday morning, the last Monday morning of, or the last Monday of 2025. We're in beautiful Belize City. The phone number is 280-5848. On a call, talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's really tough to sit down up here 2 hours and just talk. As much as I enjoy talking, it's tough. So I ask them to call me. 280-5848. Talk about whatever I want to talk about. Reading the news could really just impact you. The 16-year-old student who drowned after getting baptized at Gracie Rock, a student of EP York. That's tough. When we have our young people transitioning and they're not, especially when they're young, not sick, just a sudden death, unexpected. It's really tough on family members, friends, classmates, church family. That was tough. And then we've had some a fatal stabbing, gun violence, drug playing. I was like, so when I start off the Monday morning, can we like shift and look for something positive? So if you don't want to call and tell me, we got to in a high vibration this morning. I know for me, not making a habit of listening to the local or international news consistently, choosing to reading the transcript and choosing the stories I want to spend time on just because of the impact you have on my life. A lot of low vibration stories. It's happening in our community. It is happening in Belize, in surrounding countries, Central America, the Caribbean, the wider world. Yet it really makes a difference for find something positive, for focus on, for consume, for spend time with. So I don't know how much people wake up that morning, like, I don't know, choose Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes, because you have to wake up. But what else do you do to get your morning going? You have, some people are coffee drinkers, some people have fruits, drink water, stretch, go walk, meditate, do yoga, just being still. If you have an opportunity for the barefoot on the earth, or just, wake up before the hustle and bustle start and be still for a moment, center your day, figure out how you want your day go. We tend to look at to-do lists, all the things that I have to do. And we oftentimes, even in our stillness, and I know a number of Belizean people identify as Christians, and so they might wake up with some gospel music, or, if you tune in to Come Radio, you might hear some reggae, starting at 5 o'clock in the morning, most mornings that is. And then, that's set on vibes for the day. Or you may read an affirmation or something from a sacred book that may set the tone for you for the day. And it could be very, what I find is once I at home, like I good. But then I just be the whole, right? I live by myself. And I have 4 dogs as companion at the house, sit for my sister for a while at Vista Del Mar. And I'm good. But then now when you left the house, and then you have to engage people, like I would have to be constantly present. And that is not something I've mastered. Part of life growth. To say, yeah, you don't have to respond to every thought or everything somebody say, or not give it that much energy, just to stay balanced and centered. And I find as I'm aging, I don't know, this is something I never did research on, but maybe I should have done research on it. As I age, I'm not the only one. I hear other people who are when I say aging, I mean 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, that things that never does bother you, start to bother you like noise. Like, I don't know why these loud sounds of motorbike just irk me, get under my skin. Yesterday I came down to Belize City to visit a sister who's visiting. Yeah, just once didn't come in Friday, left Monday. I didn't call no name. Good to see you and your people, sis. And so I come down to spend all the time with the sister and family. And then motorbike just made get on my I don't know, because it's a Sunday afternoon, then just about more than usual, or if because you don't have as much traffic, I hear them more, but I don't know why. It bothered the heck out of me yesterday. And then, you know, I really did make one effort, and I want to talk for 2 hours. So I'm call me 280-5848. You know, wanting to keep it at a high vibration and just make it flow this morning for say, you know, how you start your morning, what you do for maintain a high vibration, and how you know, say measure your growth. Because growth is a process. People that say put one seed into the earth, and you know the under the earth for say how the seed they grow, but above the earth, you know, if depending upon the soil and other natural elements, sun, rain, shade, the seed may grow into a tree, a small one first, then it get bigger and it grow up towards the sunlight. But until that happens, you don't know that seed there, you don't see that seed grow. Well, the same thing could be said about whatever we experience with people on the outside, than direct reflection of what they go on inside of them people, whether they recognize it or not. So, you know, you have some people, I don't meet a lot of them, but I meet them, and I really, really happy when I meet them. And that if I know on good vibration, because I could meet you and I know you know on good vibration, and I totally miss your bright light and your positivity, because, well, I don't align at that time. But you know, you could meet some people with just, they're like always in a state of peace, and are just calm, often soft-spoken people, good listeners, very observant, and the exclamation mark for me, they're genuine. That are who them people, they are themselves. And so then that the kind of people where could come in our space and just change the vibration. You know, it could be a hectic space and the person come in and really the vibes just shift. I enjoy meeting people like that. I aspire to one day grow to the level of inner peace and awareness that I could move through the space like that and engage people like that. So I really have appreciation for people like that. I really enjoy elderly people. Just observing people could be fun sometimes, you know. And if you have the time, I use public transportation. And just observing people, listening to people's conversation, really, sometimes it's sad, some of the things you hear or observe. And sometimes it's just life. You have to take bad things, make laugh sometimes, because, I mean, life, they're not just about, you know, bad things and being serious. Thank you. Thank you. Morning. Thank you for calling me. Talk to me.
Yes, good morning. Blessed love, Sister YaYa.
Morning, brother. Tell me.
You know, a song today will keep the devil away, you know what I'm saying? Every morning when I wake up, I meditate from Psalms 91 and Psalms 27 before I leave my door, because no matter how much you pray and move and meditate, once you leave those doors, there's a lot of obstacles that you gotta see and go around. So, you know what I'm saying, you gotta keep the focus 24/7, you know. A lot of people wake up in the morning with the wrong information, when they put on news, sad stuff. You need about half an hour when you wake up with just silence to meditate before you start your day, you know. So that's my advice to you, because I'm still struggling myself dealing with the outside also, because there's a lot of negative energy, there's a lot of tongues against us. So we got to battle that every day. So I always use a stoic
ask you a question, brother. You gone? Brother gone. Appreciate it though. I know this is a brother sharing what he does when he wakes up in the morning as far as meditating. The number is 2805. Call and talk about whatever you want to talk about. Being intentional for keep one high vibration this morning. And so share it with what you do every morning when you wake up, and giving thanks that you wake up and that you move and that you're in your right mind. There are lots of things that we take for granted. When I say, oh, I give thanks, but I don't want to hear, like, what are you thankful for? Consistently, what are you thankful for? I'm mindful to be thankful that I wake up, that I move. As you age, your perspective on life changes depending on your lived experiences. I know for me personally, I'll be 59 in May. And I could feel the difference in my body, because it definitely don't feel like if you feel what I mean in my 20s. A part of that is because I haven't, like one lot of way, consistently eat healthy, exercise, consistently stretch often, staying hydrated. Morning, thank you for calling me. I give thanks to Belizean people. I holla phone on answer. Tell me. Morning.
Yes, greetings, Nibugaya, which means sister in Garifuna. But most interesting reason why I call is because I need to know at what time do you have your program on Sunday?
Sunday 10:30 to noon, most Sunday mornings.
10:30?
To noon, yes.
Okay, because many times, and it will be the same number as this one right now?
We don't take calls. That's one of the talk shows where we don't take calls. You may post comments on if you're on Facebook.
Again, and one love. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, you can ask me. I hope I have the answer.
A regular caller, based on your content, I'm pretty confident you don't have the answer. How you start your morning? What you do for get yourself in a positive vibration most mornings?
First I start spiritually. I give thanks to the Most High for allowing me to open my eyes again and breathe the breath of life, and then conduct a little prayer, praying for everything that God wills, which should be my life, and then my surroundings, my friend, my everything that He gives every day on a daily life. And then maybe proceed for prepare maybe something to eat or stuff like that, because I live by myself, I'm a vision impaired person, but I live by myself. And also followed by some physical exercises that the body can keep the condition, and you avoid yourself from having the cramps or excess of weight or all these different things. But I carry a strong diet. Since I was 20, I'm 64 now. I used to carry a diet that is called 1 meal a day. I'm a program in the U.S. called How to Eat to Live, 1 meal a day. Because they say the more you eat, your body works more and you deteriorate more. You only eat to eat. You don't live to eat, you eat to live. Yeah.
Yeah, tell him and got the answer. Appreciate that, brother.
Yes. Respect.
Thanks for the call, guys. Brother Rufus X, known as Ruffian, one of the original members of United Black Association for Development, cultural and then political organization for 5 years, 1969 to 1974. In the 1 meal a day. And you, for some people now, well, I don't, that just started saying in the past, maybe 5 years I hear people with intermittent fasting. So, again, as you grow and you live, you find out more information, you may have a different mindset to your body. And valid point, and we've heard it before, you a lot of we live for eat, when we should be eating to live. So whatever we put in our body, and you could do all of that, and then have an accident and your life change, or you might not survive. So it's what can you do while we're here to be the best human being we know how to be. Mind, body, spirit. The phone number is 280-5848. And so it really matters what kind of human being you want to be. You can't give what you not live. So whatever they go on inside of you, and a lot of we, just because of life, have experienced internal pain that we not get adequate healing from, sometimes known as trauma. And whether we recognize it or not in at the moment, it seeps into the way we think about ourselves, how we think about other people, how we engage other living beings, whether they're human beings or four-legged creatures or reptiles or mammals or amphibians. That's a part of, that's what I'm saying, a part of your environment. So whatever that a norm in the household way nurture you, especially from birth, those values or the practices then what you see in the home become the norm for you. So you to think, well, this is how you for live. And then maybe from listening or observing your neighbors or other family members, you see similar practices or not, then you might think, that's different. All right, some people live differently. You may be engaging with a device, and you see other people around the world have different ways of living. So the earlier we get an opportunity for, say that people different, people live different, the hope is that it will nurture one sense understanding that people have one right for live their life how they choose, as long as they not hurt themselves and other people. So besides your immediate home structure, what part you start to get values, and even though it might not be values that other people could have an appreciation for, they're still your values until maybe somebody show one different way of doing something. So if you come from a household where, for example, never teach you how to wake up the morning and be still and recognize that there's a creator, there's a energy force, or there's an entity bigger than all of us. If nobody never tell you that ever in a life, teach you that, then you don't know, you just don't know. You might get up and might brush your teeth, might floss, might clean your tongue, might not, because nobody teach you them things. Might eat whatever you eat and never give thanks because nobody never teach you. And then you go to school, and depending upon the school you go, and that if you go to preschool, I really appreciate Polo call, appreciate all the calls. I especially appreciate calls when I learn something new or look at something from a different perspective. And I'm going to talk about literacy Wednesday when I was here. And one of the things Polo says that I know we still look at Belize north side and south side. Now there are pockets of impoverished people, communities, north side Belize. And historically, when this territory that we know as Belize was formed, and I bet I bring my book today, I stopped bring back all them book where I just walk with. And then I need to remember how Belize came to be so that I could talk about it without constantly have to go looking at the book. But at north side Belize, and if you know, it just dawned on me the other day, I'm like, man, some things take one little while for I get it. Is that what we call Regent Street, I think is Dr. Damonita Gordon Street. Now I think it is. I know they renamed some of the streets from the colonial names that they had. But before that street was known as Regent Street, it was known as Front Street. And then what we know as Albert Street, and I don't know that one of the street names will get changed, was Back Street. And so, now this is outside Belize City. When you cross the bridge, that the whole North Front Street get a name because they're the front street, but they're on the north side. So these are, we move around Belize City and really genuinely not have no idea how long these places have been here, what they mean to we, especially as African descendants racialized as black people. So one of the things Pula say is that some people from north side Belize City may have sent their children to, when I really go to school and say kindergarten, now I think they call it pre-kindergarten or preschool. And a number of people on the south side may not, they do send them, but I pull them to make the point. Because we're going to talk about literacy. So making the point that if you get an opportunity for go to preschool, let's say maybe ages 3 to 5, because I believe for start infant 1, in September, the academic year, you need to be 5 years old. So before that, you could go to preschool, or if you're fortunate to have parents or people who take care of you for homeschool you, you're ahead of the game. And then, and Polo also so that then people talk English, which puts you at advantage for some going into the classroom, because the language that the colonizers left we with, that the English language, so that they were right in the book there, I don't even know if, because I really don't know, but somebody could call and tell me, if majority of Belizean teachers talk only English in the classroom. I think it would be an expectation of them, but I want to believe that nobody sprinkle Creole, because most Belizeans talk Creole, understand Creole, and with the texting business, start to make up their own Creole spelling, even though there's a second, I think, edition of the Creole dictionary out. So one of the things I learned this last year, is that when teachers are, and I never noticed, when teachers are teaching, that for them come to the awareness that you're teaching students where English is English is not for we first language. English is the language of the country, but the language of the people, that Creole. So they're not for force people for not be themselves, because Creole is for we first language. So we'd be English as a second language learner. And that's a completely different mindset than if English are genuinely with first language. And so, morning, talk to it. Thanks for call.
Hey, morning, I'm Carl from PG. Remember I promised our Carl back when we work, something gets done to the work.
I'd wait for you.
Good. So now you know I'm here.
Tell me.
Apparently, after advocation like mine for the work to be fixed, it has been fixed.
I'm going to wait for you. I want
to congratulate YaYa.
No. This is what I want we do. And this is what I keep tell people. Only the people want to save the people.
Yes.
You call Wednesday.
I want to save all the credits.
All right, go ahead.
Yes. So I want to thank the members of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The national, because apparently we have some people around. When we defend this thing, they work and never work, they will smell the scent, YaYa. So I want to congratulate them for refusing to pass on information to their supervisors, from the caretaker all the way to the leader, right here in PG. YaYa, and I want to thank everybody. We call about this work. Everybody, we advocate everybody that went out by the morgue and did a small demonstration to show their disgust. YaYa, and I want to end by saying that I want to recommend capacity building sessions for our open road workers here at the Health and Wellness Department, YaYa, and I want their focus on public relations. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the call, caller. I'm going to hope the brother called back this morning because he called on Wednesday with a concern out of Paini, Punta Gorda tongue of the morgue refrigeration unit not working. I may find it hard to believe. I made sure I passed that concern on to our news director, Maricela Maya. And the same day, this would have been Wednesday, March 26th. The same day in the news, it said that, and I have to applaud the Ministry of Health and Wellness because they're not usually a fine like state entity own when something gone wrong, but they said that the morgue operational, but in the last 2 months, it never function at desired temperature despite repairs. So I say, for 2 months, the brother may say air when he call in, but according to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and this stuff from the director in the ministry responsible for hospital services and allied health, Dr. Jorge Polanco. I'm like, for 2 months, I don't know this refrigeration unit for the morgue not to work properly. I know that this caller calling and XTV crime radio say about it. Right away, they say one unit that on the way from Orange Walk to Punta Gorda, and that unit, one new cold storage unit capable of accommodating 6 bodies, and it's being transported from Orange Walk to replace. But I say, why for 2 months am I aware of it? And only never act like that. That's a serious public health concern. And when I say I know used to state entities owning, because one of the complaints the caller make Wednesday was that decomposed bodies were being moved. And then it said, Dr. Polanco said that indeed 2 initially placed in refrigerated vans. And one of the bodies get returned to the morgue. And then it said that one of the corpses may kept in at the van for only 1 day. And it said as it relates to the decomposing bodies being blamed on the condition of the cold storage unit. No, I tell her, this was just, I know I forget this story, no time soon, because I know used to then kind of details there and the state, like, not a run from something wrong here. But this is what he said. One body arrived at the facility from forensics already starting to decompose. And the thought never crossed, like, I don't want somebody to follow up on a story, yeah? So that, like, how long forensic have one body? And I don't think even if forensic have one body, I would think it's being kept in a cold storage unit so it wouldn't decompose. I think it'll decompose because it's not being stored adequately, regardless of how long you got a body. So that's a concern for me. And this Dr. Jorge Polanco to say that then get to one body from forensic already starting to decompose. And it say, and secondly, the other case was somebody who was found dead after several days. So I really, because I follow up to find out, well, what do people say? And so this was Wednesday night news on XTV and on Crumb Radio. The quickness that Ministry of Health and Wellness responded favorably. And like the brother said, people within the community, some people advocated, a small group gone and protest. They are the kind of community actions that really make I believe in people having the knowledge, the confidence, and willing to do something different enough for their own interests. And so, respect to the community of Paini and everybody will participate in our process. I don't know if any other media house had reported it, but I know the call came in here to WB last week, Wednesday morning. And so that's why I encourage Belizean people, one okra full basket. There's a concern. People can't help you if they don't know so there's an issue. And then we could just, based on human capacity and technical capacity, we could make an effort to reach out. The number is 280-5848. So that's a good feel-good story this morning. And I'm sure there's more in the community, but we not get to hear their stories. And so I encourage people to call in, tell you what is happening in your community. And I have on Timmy Stamp good while. Timmy, if you got some credits, call in and make you know what happened with your after-school program that you've been doing for years and has made a difference in a number of communities. We know Sticks have Days of Healing. We know Dara have the feeding program. So there are people doing things in communities. I talked to one of my sisters recently from the Jane Usher community, and she and one of my sisters have one feeding program. People are doing things in the community for help themselves. Well, their stories not get reported. What we hear over and over again now, a lot of the negative things, as if beautiful things happen. Oh, make I give thanks to Kim Grab and go. You know, long and I get hash fish. Well, this morning I get hash fish with leaf pepper in it. Thanks, Kim. And my brother Keller bring it for me. Thanks, Keller. Wednesday, Rapagana give me breakfast for me. I really thrive on community engagement, connections, interaction, genuine connections, that is. And so it takes time for build relationships with people in the community, for develop trust with people in the community. I said I was working with a group, and I held one of the sisters who I was working with accountable, because I said to her, one of the reasons why I could work as long as I work in the community that believes is because of trust. And I take it seriously. I'm as human as anybody else. I do wrong thing too. And the only thing I could do when I do the wrong thing is say, yes, I did the wrong thing, make an effort for not to do the wrong thing again. So when I was detained and incarcerated for 6 months, me tell the people, I commit the 2 federal offenses. Yes, I do it, and I have to live with it. So I take it seriously when someone does something that will make people question my character. I take it seriously. I don't play about that. So that's one thing I work on to be a better human being consistently. Again, that don't mean say I don't do the wrong thing. It's not to center myself, but before you take things out of people's eye, you better take it out your own first. And we good human beings, but I believe so on top of belligerent people. We good for take things out of people's eye first. We always could see what other people do when they're right. And we're not willing to look for we own self too much time and say, no, these are things that I need to work on. These are things that I have observed. If you pay attention to yourself and say, this not righteous. I could do better upon this. And then how you feel by yourself when you do something whether or not in your best interest as a human being, but you continue to do it. So, over and over again, you would hear us say, not to consume so much sugar, not eat late the night and then go sleep. Try get up and move more than usual. Move. The recommendation is 10 to 11,000 steps a day, which is about 5 to 6 miles a day. We're coming up to the deadline for the Belize Diabetes Association Marathon. I think it's April 15th or 16th. I don't know how much people were reaching 1 million steps. I know some people don't reach it already. But either with the people then want to take it technically 10,000 to 11,000 steps a day. I mean, a real naked, I never start up. They tell her the instructions, but I don't know how to follow it. But I follow it now, though. So I really encourage Belize Diabetes Association for bring this back after the first cohort complete the milestone of 1 million steps from January 1st to April 15th or 16th of walking 1 million steps at 10,000 to 11,000 steps a day. Diabetes is real. Dialysis is real and costly. Again, a lot of people were not financially secure, we have material needs, we don't have adequate access to homes, education. that for we people to feel. So we really have to make different choices, especially for children. I got on a field trip Friday with one standard 5 class, Miss Jones standard 5 class from St. Ignatius School. I feel like my mind I feel like I live again. But when I come back from that field trip, like up to yesterday, I still sleep. I never think it takes so much out of me. We went to a chocolate factory by Maya Center off the TV Ramos Road and to the Jaguar Reserve, Coxcomb Jaguar Reserve. First time I got back there. And I think they had about maybe 60-something children. And I was wowed. They had about 30-something parents, especially black fathers, actively engaging their it was just beautiful to see. I tell you, standard 5 children mindset very different from when I'm in a standard 5. It was, I really make sure, yeah, shut your mouth and just observe. I know the B sister put to right today. I just observe and learn from the young people how they think, how they talk, how they engage. I was ecstatic. So much that the Lee sisters, the black sisters, they all kind of natural hairstyle. I mean, beautiful. The children, they're beautiful children, but they don't know when it comes to black people. I was front and center. Beautiful black children, just gorgeous, intelligent. I really had a good time with that class, thanks to my niece and my grandniece who gave me the opportunity for going with them, and really, really had a good time with them. Anyways, it's 7:30. It's time to take a break. It's 2 cents come time, and 2 cents come is being sponsored by Fort Point Security.
You're watching WB on XTV, and we're going to find out, or I want to find out, where the fellas then go through when they got high blood pressure. That's something very serious to talk about, and then I want to find out the people that 2 cents on it. All right, as a man, right? What do you know about high blood pressure?
Well, I don't have high blood pressure, but I got a lot of friends. The woman getting pressure.
Oh, yeah, you're 2 cents.
Yeah.
What do you know about high blood pressure?
Well, what I know about high blood pressure, that I guess like it's dangerous, like it could make you like pass out or something, or it could warn you that you could feel dizzy and so that.
You check the doctor to see if you got high blood pressure?
Well, never before. I feel like straight I'm healthy.
But you know you don't got no sign, right?
No, I don't have no signs or nothing.
That your 2 cents.
That my 2 cents.
You know about high blood pressure?
I don't know much about that, you know, Jeeves, really. I mean, all I know, you gotta eat healthy, you know?
Do you ever take for one, say, go to the doctor for your check?
Trouble, I don't do doctor and anything,
Okay.
you know? I try to eat healthy.
Yeah.
Me orange, me banana.
Okay.
Plenty water.
All right.
You know, I let flow and kick down and then leeches and then fool, you know?
That your advice?
Yes, man.
That your 2
basically.
cents?
No, nothing about that, you know.
You never try to check the doctor to say?
No, I never tried that before.
Because they say you have to eat right, drink a lot of water, and run away from the fatty food.
Yeah.
You like your fatty food?
Yes, I like. I can add the vegetables, fruits, and so right.
Okay. So you eat healthy?
Yeah, plenty water, soft drink, not too much.
Yeah, you're like me. I don't drink soft drink.
Yeah, only that.
All right, that you're 2 cents. All right, sir.
Okay.
I say all I know about high blood pressure, that people say when your pressure the high, you either feel behind your neck back feel tight, or you have headache, or you feel a bit dizzy.
Dizzy. That you're 2 cents. All right.
back to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes here at XTV simulcasting on Creme Radio. The phone number is 280-5848. I top one number of things this morning. Started off with how you wake up your morning, making an effort to stay in a positive high vibration because we're just flooded with low vibration news, lived experiences. And so we had two people calling and share, and then somebody else calling from Penny for say a major community concern was resolved, and give thanks to everybody who participated in the process. And I find the picture where I'm going to look for. Alexi, if you could bring it up. These are actually from a number of books were right by Belize. But this from Colony to Nation, Women Activists and the Gendering of Politics in Belize, 1912-1982, Annie S. McPherson. And we show the way Belize tongue looked like in the 1910s. Now, we often take it for granted, right? So I don't know how well you could see that image, but what we call North Side was considered the old tongue. And it's in the 1910s now, we're in 2025. You had barracks, you had the Belize Hospital. Well, now that's not there anymore. But what we call all Marine Parade, the Malone Water, like when I got to St. Catherine's, 79, 80, 81, that Malone Water. You had the Fort George area, North Side Canal, Queen Street, Nursey Street, Matron Robert Street, North Front Street, Northern Highway. Now, this is up in the 1910s. Then when you cross over like Swing Bridge area, you have Southern Foreshore Government House. You had the Yarborough area, Albert Street, Regent Street, Water Lane, Canal, Mesopotamia, Queen Square. Now, this is up in the 1910s. It says in the 1920s, Mesopotamia and Fort George were developed. Belize Town became Belize City in 1943, and further expansion occurred mostly after World War II. So, especially for the people in where live, work, grow in a Belize City, we don't have no clue really about the city, how the city came to be. And well, for me, I spent most of my young years South Side, raised. And so I've always had a great appreciation for people on the South Side. Lived on the North Side for a period, but we come from the South Side. So even though we live on the North Side, we mother me and walk boat ma. And she always got a picnic there. So we walk boat, we know the alleys, we know Belize City streets. We're talking about in the 70s. We don't walk boat people. And so when we would hear, especially during maybe an election, we would hear about Mesopotamia, Fort George. We don't have no idea what these spaces mean, what are the value of these spaces, what are the story of these spaces. I have to go look for, I hope I'm not to give the wrong, I'm going to read something. And the point is, you see how them people are painting, organize, and look out for their best interests? Belize, both in Belize City and in Stan Creek, and in the north, there are historical documents that showed women in particular organizing in their best interests. Now, if you listen to the singular narrative of this country, you'd think the nationalist movement, like we gone from Battle of St. George's Key to the nationalist movement, but there's so much we don't know about our stories, which would be the state responsibility to tell us. And it's the details of their stories really, really matter. So the awareness of Belizean people from, let's say, during the enslavement of our people, that some of our people became literate. Some people, just from observation and listening, they find out what happened to them people, what happened out of the world, for make decisions in their best interest. You have people going to court. This is in the 1800s. In the 1900s, people that protest, people that write petitions. And really, they might never always get the results what they want. But every time they did something in their best interest, they learned from the experience. They developed more confidence. They resisted. And it really we not knowing those stories about ourselves as African descendants, as Maya people, predominantly, there's a void there. And then it get filled with other people's narratives. We're not doing nothing for we as a people. And so I keep going back to, like, I'm studying, I'm hoping, if not this week, I'll be here sitting in for most for a period of time, that I could have people who have different knowledge about Belize literacy rate. Over and over again, I see and I hear people saying that Belize used to have 90% literacy rate, but I'm not seeing, I'm like, what was the definition of literacy at that time? I think somebody told me once a long time ago that once you can sign your name, you were considered literate. Even now, I don't know if the Ministry of Education has a definition for what literacy is and when did they come to that decision. But from the research I've been doing, and the Ministry of Education, I think, might have the second largest budget in the national budget. And consistently, our Belizean students are not being literate. Now, I intend, once the people I agree for Conquers, I then going to study about literacy, that on me. So I prefer them talk to me. Literacy is not only being able to read, and that's something we really need to shift with mindset on. Just because you could read, no make you literate. One big part of literacy is comprehension. One big part. I've talked to teachers from time to time over a period of time, primary school, high school, tertiary level, and they're saying that the students are not performing at the level where they're unable for talk English adequately, unable for write English adequately, unable for reason adequately, because based on your age primarily, and trusting that you have no challenges, like maybe not with a learning disability or anything else, there is just developmentally benchmarks that you ought to be able to grow to and master before you move on to maybe another class. And so I talked to I talked to people, and I'm being told, and I know we hear this before, in high school, it's understandable why students would be at high school and university level and not performing, because we hear about this happening in primary school. So if they're not being tested in primary school to find out what part, then they're like, I told you about the team in St. Bite. Yeah, then test the students, therefore say where they are as it relates to literacy in a certain category. There are a number of categories you could test them on. And then you test them, and you say, okay, this the part, then they. This the way they are to be based on the standard. And so we have to do interventions for each child for get there or part them for there. No, it won't be on process. It never happen overnight, it won't be on process. But that means students, the people who are responsible for them, the children, the teachers, the principal, management for like Catholic schools, for example, Ministry of Education have one big role for play. So I am at like the more I did the research, the more I am just shocked, like shocked at how we, the Belizean people, have accepted that for we children are not literate and we just go along with it. Now we know whether we are literate or not, we know if we children, then they do their homework. Well, I hope we ought to know, we have one duty for knowing that they do their homework. If you say, then get a book, what are the homework for today? Read. We could hear if that child is struggle. Good morning, thanks for calling.
As a lecture part of education, I believe, YaYa, we are having poor performance across our institutions. You know why? Because somebody dropped the ball with the exam that should show where the students are before they move to another level. Imagine they throw away the PFC. So everybody picnic over the high school now. Even if they don't know how to read and write like yourself, or read and don't know how to comprehend, they go to high school. And you know who get frustrated? That the teachers, sir. That the teachers miss. This PFC used to serve as a means for parents whose children did well to get a scholarship. To get a scholarship, you know right now, you know who will get the scholarship right now? You know who will get the scholarship right now, YaYa? That the people who pay, or that the students whose parents wear one flag, you know. Wear one flag, they're not because of what they know now, but because of who know them. And we hear that the education status gone down, no, YaYa. The education status, it gone down, YaYa. Come and Toledo, YaYa. Come and say the illiteracy what happened at Toledo. Even the schools, even on the street. Because if we never learn in that school, it will be reflected in the streets. You know how much of a youth right now, YaYa? We have a job. We have jobs, they happen. We have streets, they get built. YaYa, or renovated. And you know that the people know they hire people for it. They bring the cement truck, YaYa. And they know if they hire 5 people for PG, they hire a lot. But yet when we're in the campaign, roads will be built. This will happen and you will be involved, YaYa. 5,032 of them people come most of the PUP representative. And right now, they cry, they suffer. They are being neglected, they are being thrown under the bus. YaYa, I like when you talk about education. Our people need to get educated. We can't say people that are full of places here that are a government office right there, YaYa, and they don't know how to read and write, they need to know how to talk. Proper English, YaYa. They come from across the next constituency. We part there, they should have been provided their job, but they call YaYa, and they make themselves look bad. They make the government look bad. They make the education system look bad, YaYa. YaYa, I like when you talk about education because something has to be done to show the credibility of performance. Something needs to be done to make people who deserve the scholarship get the scholarship, YaYa. So I hope that there will be an educational consultation to make things like that happen. Thank you, YaYa.
Thanks for the call. We, as a Belizean people, have a responsibility for learn. Before we could say, well, what that the problem are really, and whatever the problem may be, right now we're at the focus for literacy, is to say, first off, and I read one, I never read it before. I read the remarks of one of our spirit guides, Baba Elder Dr. Leroy Tega. He gave a feature presentation at the Black Summit that UBAD Educational Foundation organized some decades ago. And it was read by his son, Sean Tega. And one of the things where I read it recently, he made the point that there's a distinction between education and intelligence. And one of the things where I like, he called, like the educational we get now, he called it programmed education. So because most of the schools that Belize, primary schools, for example, that church state schools, right? You're under the influence of a particular Christian denomination, which based on human rights and the Constitution of Belize, Belizeans, parents of those children have a right to choose, and it's okay if that's your choice. But the fact that schools ought to be secular schools, they don't have no faith-based influence because it's the responsibility of the state, which is not faith-based, it's secular. And then if people want to choose to send their child whether or not private school, then that's for their choice. But so from the start, because this is what was handed down to us by the enslavers, colonizers, we kept that infrastructure in place and then shift from a church state school to just a state school. Now, based on all the ills of the community, I don't see how the faith-based school even benefit for to influence people that just kind of people just like, this is what I have to do for kind of school. Okay, I just go along and I say what I want to say, or repeat the prayers, and you seldom see meaningful transformation of people, let's say because of organized religion. And then when you go into the school systems, one of the things you hear consistently more so is behavioral concerns and large class sizes. And teachers many times not seem to be genuinely interested in the teaching profession. Burned out, discouraged, it's more, sometimes people think like a child care center. And the brother made a point about not having a standardized test, and there's been research done on standardized tests to say why it was done away with. Everyone that tests well on test days. What they've moved to is a more comprehensive assessment, like a portfolio assessment. So I would often say to students and students and parents, you don't have to wait till midterm come out, a report card come out, for know how your child or children do, if you to pay attention. So one of the things that's recommended is, when school start and they have their new book bag, new uniform, hairstyle, new shoes, new socks, everybody look. First day of school, big thing, right, for most children. There's some children who are not able to go to school all brand new. Is to have a grade book where, you get from your child's teacher, get the teacher contact information, find out what are the expectation of the teacher, and regularly, okay, they have spelling on Wednesday, but by the next Monday, the spelling grade will come out. They have quizzes on this day. They have one project due once a semester. And then imagine being a single parent, for example, or you the hustle. You ain't got 9 to 5, you the hustle. Living in inadequate housing. You may have more than one child. I get it, it's a lot. And at the part, community support is needed. So I'm going to talk to a community worker, and the person was saying, we need adequate resource centers. We need that more than we need parks and playgrounds. We need adequate resource centers with people who are trained, committed to get to the... Morning, thanks for calling WV. You're on the air, go ahead. Please lower or mute the TV or radio or online device. I hear myself in the background. Thank you.
Hello.
Good morning, go ahead. You need to lower your device, the volume. I hear myself in your background.
Okay, I better now.
All right, go ahead, share with us.
When you think about student and school and things, sometimes we have to go and look for the pulpit, because I would say like 1984, everything looked well with education, and the people reached the IQ sense, but someone I don't know what takes place, but I think we need to look for the pulpit. I think if we find it, then we go maybe find out what wrong or what cause all this, not have this intelligence here again, and this sort of comprehension after reading this kind of way. I noticed one of the things where really stood out that like English and math. And it seems like that English really the bore with. But I don't know, but I think if we step back and say, let me see what we really carve on this will happen today. Because, we intelligent, but somewhere along the way we lose it. I don't really understand how to explain it, but maybe you could help. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, I hear you. You've heard people say that as well. Post-independence being political independence, September 21st, 1981, because before that, even though we had self-government, colonial European British control was still strong. After political independence, the primarily local people in leadership, and people felt a change in management, a change in policy, a change in the whole vibration. And so I hear some older people say, me better under European colonial British rule, the streets then does clean, the drains does clean, you know what I say, males peeing anywhere they want pee. They're very conservative in their thinking. And so that now reflect well upon we as local people for say that, now remember under colonial rule, African descendants racialized as black Creole people who were very pro Anglican, for example, church state school, and even Methodist, let's say Anglican, Methodist, Baptist. One lot of them make up the public service. So, which was discriminatory because what happened to all the other Belizeans who based on merit, Garifuna, Maya, Indian people, they were eligible for jobs within the government service, but because the Creole population were more pro-British and their values, they get position and title and opportunities. So after independence, now this is our part, the Belizean people never show what they make out of. Like, we want a creativity, intelligence, vision for a people there. So because there was never any serious dismantling or decolonization process, you had people who were pro the British system and people who were anti the British system. And people just stay stuck in a rut there, and then recognizing that with power and influence come greed and my interests and my people interests and corruption. Then you find enough of the natural resources that the people get bleed out and they not go for really benefit majority of Belizean people. So what we call education was supposed to be the equalizer for improved people quality of life. That a meaningful education. Like, you know, like talk about democracy, but it's not genuine democracy. And so it's to be able to have that conversation there. And you meet people where they genuinely use their common sense and have heights of reasoning. They pay attention, they listen, and think for themselves, they have lived experiences. They could carry their conversation. And one of the things that they're not teach at school, I believe, public school systems intentionally, is how to have a position that you are convinced of this position. You may or may not have evidence for this position, but you buy into it because I saw your ma stayed, I saw your pa stayed, I saw your granny and grandpa stayed, so you just stay so. So let's say that position is I'm a Christian. That's the only thing I know. But at no point are you taught that there are other belief systems in the world and that people have a right to believe what they believe and live what they believe, that you could hear a position that is completely different from yours. And you're open to hearing that position without judgment. Think about it, recognize that that's a valid position or not, and I could learn from it or not without beating down the position, without disrespecting the person. They don't teach me that. That like, we the PUP, we the UDP, and that the P where we and stay for life, as opposed to, how did our family benefit from this? Did they benefit from it then? Are we benefiting from it in a meaningful way now? We don't have that process of being still, listening, thinking, do some research, think some more, ask questions for clarity, not come off like we argue all the time with a past break time. It's about 4 minutes after 8 and we're gonna break 8 o'clock. So I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna come back and reason some more.
Enhanced
back to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes for the last Monday, last day of March 2025. Tell them Belize people can make I feel good. I have one sister who listen regularly to XTV programming. She's on the East Coast. Morning, sis. Thanks for staying tuned in. Brother Jerry Enriquez. I don't know if it's a penny, if it's a pan, but you're lucky into thanks. Puller to try to get through, so I had to wait for that call coming from Puller Lightburn. So one of the things were to be able to, you know, a number of people, I'm going to talk to a Ghana one gathering Saturday night, and I meet this really vibrant young Belizean sister, just driven, come from an impoverished family, and just determined for her life be different, partner with someone who really support her. It's a black couple, support her, they have 3 children, and she is just driven with political aspirations, and I'm like, oh no, here we go again. And you know, young people, and I'm always happy to meet young people who really want to change their beliefs, and sometimes from just observing and listening to them, they have good intentions. They know they said the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Just, they're young. In your 20s is a time of self-discovery. And really want, with adequate guidance and allowing people for be there, try for mold people into where you think they should be, or just allow them for be themselves. With adequate guidance, you know, I'm hopeful that they could be the next generation of change agents, like not political change agents, like serious change agents to make life be better for the majority of Belizean people. And so you find one number of people from working class families, mostly females than males. Morning, Paula, tell me.
YaYa, Belize.
Morning, brother.
Yeah, for last week I'm going to try to get into this debate with the education system, no? Or the, I should say, the Belize subculture. Make a first, I want to make a transition before I go further. Over 4 decades ago, when I got at school, I began a scholarship to go to university to play basketball.
That's over 40 years that they talk about.
I don't come out of high school, right? Just because it's important. I don't come out of high school. I never get my scholarship till like 20. I am a member of one gang named the Wild Bunch. I down in the streets, they hold a pool room. We made a fight, they do a lot of stupidness in the streets. And they send me that college now, when you go to school and I forget one job in the bank, come back and be a accountant. So the perception of wealth that to be one liar, I'll get one job that customs. Okay? So this is important because you think about where you want to be when you're a kid. So it matters when I get out there, I decide, I don't want to be no accountant after I got to orientation. I decided I want to do social work. I want to come back and work with young kids. I want to teach them to think. So I decided to do psychology where I'm kind of like sociology is a subset, no? And I end up, my first year, I was a student. I got down south and I'm a very racist society. I experienced worse racism than the time in the up north. We find me kind of, you know, painted tongue. We find it, but straight up redneck. And I was the only black person in a society trying to get a car by my first year. The second year, they give me a roommate name for a parker. And after me and him study together and whatnot, he ended up to make the honor society too. And him come from a place at Chattanooga where I'm in the real ghetto. Right? We don't play out to me one and then club and then you play the club, man go gamble and woman go hang out and so far bad girl and so. And he tell me, century, so one of these days I'm going to be like big money Thomas. Today her pastor is the senior vice president in charge of the largest electrical company in the world, in charge of North America, Central America, South America, and finance. We have over 40,000 people working under him. He's in 500. He married a woman from Brazil. He's in Switzerland and he lives in Connecticut. That's why we part the most elite. And him is like as big and black as they come. So I just want to run that one past because him they talk about degree and I remember was doctorate and all that. Also again, Einstein these days when we have time, I tell them about my cousin Jimmy. We only gone to school for one day, and he got the smartest light bird. And we got light bird degree too. So when I found out, and I decided I want to come back and I thought I want to be an anthropologist. So I started work with kids in the street and study them. I bring them home with me. I spend months with them, I stand in the wall, I listen to their conversation, right? And growing up, this is my third generation of dealing with them kids in the street, so-called gangs and whatnot. And I have two grandkids. One to go up on the south side and one to go up on the north side. And the reality of it, the guys that want high, believe it's a tale of two cities. And when we say north side and south side, we talk about the rich and poor, the have and the have not. It's a tale of two cities. Just like we call the French, that's what we call the French Revolution. All right? So, listen to these kids, for example. I know I call the name of the school, but the kids, they wake up and they want to think certain outside school. When they talk, their boyfriend in outside school, they're batty man, they're not punk, they're star. And the kids, they find outside school, what we call bad man and bad girl. They bully the bad man or the bad boy, they bully the one there from the north side school. I had the experience with my two grandkids. One of them, they go up on the south side, back at Genosha Boulevard, and the next one, they go back at Kings Park. The one part, Genosha Boulevard, they go to school, they say, so they walk to school by themselves. The one there on the north side, usually when they go to school, they drop down to a big car for them granny, and so they hold them by the hand and carry them to school. And this show, like when the one there, where see how they pamper you and got they stuck your shot in your pants, I think they bully you. And when they get bigger, I had this experience with my kids then, or when they go to high school, and then they go to outside high school. But after school, them boys from the outside come and wait outside and bully them, take one man tennis, take off them tennis, all kind of thing. You send your kids in at school because we believe that tucking your shirt in your pants, that discipline, not that. The style, they don't know tucking. I remember YaYa beer, not tuck that in, bush jacket, not tuck that in, but we see a pick panel, pick down here. So, when they don't come from school and used to get bullied. All right, they take up their things, eventually, they get together and form a whole gang. Every action bring a reaction to defend themselves. When they boys make this thing, so you have to be one group to make you not get bullied. And even when the kids get down in my living room and the conversation that takes place, they talk about the schools where have the punkish kids there, and the school where have the bad man. The kids there will go to the school for the north side, you know what they're doing? As they come out of school, they look left, they look right, and they hardly shut out on their pants and start to walk different because they want to identify. All right, that's like one farmer defense. That's like one weapon. So when you get a shot tucked in, right, that way man, they look for bully you. But when you got your shot out, that one whole different thing that's right there. And the thing is, the kids there on the north side, they go to pre-kinder and kindergarten. We have to pay for go. The kids on the south side, the poverty very prevalent. And the kids there on the south side, they don't go to kindergarten. So you find that when they get like we say ABC, the kids there on the north side or the rich kids, they have an advantage over there. Because they don't know the ABC and then 1, 2, 3. Secondly, the people on the north side, they're well educated, they could talk proper English, so they talk to the kids in English. Like I said, I remember when I don't say, because my mom began a Catherine, didn't know me live on the south side. When I was saying, come here, my mom would say, boy, come here. What that? I hear her, but it's in the next room say, what's that? She never stopped me from talking Creole, you know, but used to interpret for me. Because when we don't realize Creole, when you get a school or that particular kid. So you find out that they go to school and the kids they don't want to go to school like that because they feel rejected, they feel inferior from where they're at age there. And you'll find out that when they go to that school, you know, the kids there from the we go up on the behind the zinc fence, want to bully the kids there from the south from the north side. Behind the guy go up behind the zinc fence and they got all they do is slap you in the head out there, you know. Like the whole of man I can watch that. Because everybody was don't stop me, they start a part of the initiative, they slap you in your head. Why on the north side now, and they hug you or pamper you. And one other thing, a lot of the kids, we say single parent, make we say it the correct way. Parent, kids without fathers, because 90% is single parent now, woman. If I either don't get killed in a gunshot, or he did a jail, or either one dead, beat dad. We have the crown of post for get to see that we for mind the facility. Because of that subculture. So then kids will go up with that single parent with just one mother. Then go up starved, they don't go up masculine. One woman can't, even though, you know, they try and they do a good job. Reality of it, one woman cannot prepare a young man to be a man because he has to go to the fight, he has to go back, be more athletic. While a woman more passionate. I believe men and women are equal but different. The woman brings the love to the family, the man the problem, the man is supposed to be the provider, he's supposed to go work and bring the money home. 90% of the money will take it 10% and go to the part. Then we have a next problem with the alcohol situation. We part no alcohol now as part of the subculture. These are drunken hypocrisy. When you have them body, they drink out their pay, and the money not reach home. And this is more outside thing. Again, I remember as a young boy growing up, it comes to me there because that generation after generation, just like how the minister and the politicians, for their son now, the son the minister, the heredity, they're like royalty that the British system still is. That the prince will become the king. While by the south side, who go up to work here, the street here and work up on their truck. But you're picking them right up to work on their truck and keep doing. There's basically no way out. And like I said, unless you jump the fence and become a politician or a liar or get a job that comes from. That is the conception of wealth. Every poor kid want to be that. Nobody weapon. They don't want to be gangster. That the system wrap you up by, it's not going to help you by 13, 14, 15, that they are end up. They don't lack a talent, they lack an opportunity card. So, if you find that through the system, that the system basically suck you in. And then one next thing again, we still teach subjects to become objects. Now, who was different age, industrial age, again, electrical car, then that's what happened again. This is the age of information. That's why the church don't lose control of the world. Growing up, the book that was most read was the Bible. Was the most read book today, the most read book. That Google. But having all the information, only those teachers, then those programs, you know you could go up on the internet and the other religion, other culture, other way of life. So, for a lot of people, especially after COVID, for a lot of people drop out, people start to teach their kids at home, and we start to have offline. Just like when you got offline schools and stuff, you could teach yourself offline. You could get one group together and you could discuss. Like, you could Google anything, you could touch the button. Google our encyclopedia. Libraries, Google the new library panic that when you go and sit down in now, that's over with. Google the new library. And just like, make I bring you in here, just like to show you what you reported by yourself, the physical, we the judge, the physical court, never got 2,000 people, that the message, when you go there, you might judge them yourself. But on the internet journey, Marin, people compare, people have comments. All right, I remember I post something where I'm a protest against the system. And over 40,000 people comment on that. Well, I just like 40,000 people in a march. You feel me? So that's a new way. So anytime you stop your thing, anytime you will start to post up. The way you go there, you have a page where you press for press. Even if the UBA education don't have it, whether your opinion, press your message, get your followers, and that will happen because people don't go there for various reasons. But COVID we became antisocial. People are socialized like gathered after the society, people are socialized like one time. Alright? So the same thing with at school as much other people they do the education from home. Right? And internet have more information than the school system and more choices. Like we still just give them a piece of paper. I don't know that. Intelligence and intelligent education are two different things. All right, I'll make my statement. Let me go ahead.
Thanks for the share one lot of knowledge. This is a whole course. This is a whole lesson plan. And the check boxes of, and I could hear the teachers in frustration because every minute it seemed like to them, then they change the curriculum, then they change how you report, then they change how you assess, and it's frustrated. And I don't know how much of the social realities of children then take into consideration. Like you just gave one very clear picture of what youth children they deal with before they even get into the classroom. They come to school with knives in their head. And they don't have the space for, they just don't have the capacity, they're just not able to learn most days. And feeling othered. And so, you know, you may come to class and not have the cleanest clothes or not smell good or never get a haircut. And people take joke off of you. And that's another thing that.
Yeah, over 60% of our children are mentally challenged on both sides, not and so. Go ahead.
We never teach we children how to socialize.
Exactly.
So they knock people in the head and they tell people insulting things. I said, but we play, that's how we play. We never, and those are the.
Yeah, it's our subculture.
And then if these things aren't corrected, that's the adult we become. And then you have a lot of people with this mindset, and then they get someone because of the colonial papers or the chase. You the think that if I get them colonial papers, I want to make more money in the government system, or even if I go to a call center, I want to get one supervisor position. It's all about making more money at whatever cost. I don't know, Polo, but I have to go to a break. But you're really, right. I'm glad you're calling, brother. I'm glad you're calling. Thank you.
No respect. You're welcome.
I love every time. It's break time. It's 8:30. Stay tuned.
En Belice
Morning Vibes for this Monday morning for Lacala. School way. I know he definitely schooled me. And I don't know, and then it's also keep in mind that some of the educators, school leaders, could relate to some of their students. Sometimes they can't relate to their students, depending upon the communities where they come from, based on their ethnic identity. And so it's a real, there are lots of challenges. But in 2025, we, the Belizean people, have to be honest and say, if this education system, the work for we. Morning, thanks for calling WUB. Talk to it.
Yes, good morning. Yeah, it's me again.
Yes.
Over that political time the other month ago and everything, your prime minister saying that the economy is growing, the GTS is growing, or what's that, the grand GSP?
GDP. Domestic, gross domestic product, GDP.
Okay, and you said job development or jobs expanding in Belize. But when you look at the jobs in Belize, it's only the call center jobs that are growing in Belize. You got hundreds of people that's graduating with architect degrees or an AS degree in some type of vocational or even an AS degree in science or something and can't find a job in the position because there's no job growth there in Belize. Hundreds of people graduate and can't ever go to a call center. So I don't want to hear that thing about the job development is growing in Belize. It's only growing in the call center field. You know, that call center in America, that's like a revolving door in America. People don't want that job, even though it pays 15 and 18 bucks an hour. You know, only people in America are like crackheads, people got out of jail, drug rehab people use their jobs in America. It's like a revolving door. You quit, it's like a survivor. I get a job within a month. So let me work here at this call center for 2 weeks just to have a little paycheck in my possession. But like I said, ain't no, my cousins graduated from Belize with degrees and they have to run to a call center. A call center, their contract might terminate in 6 months and they got to start a new program. So all call centers here, they're consistent, but for 6 or 8 months, they got to go to a new technology or a new format because everything changes. Because you might have T-Mobile 6 months, you might have to go sell Avon next 6 months, so everything changes. You know, and I told my cousins who work in call centers, we didn't get out of school, we just spend 2 to 3 hours online on school instead of Facebook because you're going to be a call center girl for the rest of your life if you don't get your act together. There ain't no growth in no call development. Only a few are chosen, not all. So that's all I have to say because there ain't no growth development, no jobs in Belize. Everybody has to run to a call center. I don't want to hear that. Yeah, man.
I hear, brother.
Alumni. Peace out.
Thanks. I hear the brother. The reality is right now that that's the thing, right? You don't hear Statistical Institute of Belize, you don't hear different ministers or CEO. When they run for their numbers, you don't think the quality of life they improve for a sizable population of Belizeans. But for the people who live the Belize, that's enough for we reality, for majority of Belizean people. And so the call centers that were out for a number of people will be unemployed. Now, from the reports that I get from call centers, for the most part, they're very toxic environments. They're like enslavement, they're like factory work. The turnover rate is very high. Quite a bit of it has to do with the attitude of the mindsets of the people who are employed, cutthroat. I mean, but again, this is because this is a reflection of the homes and the families where we come from. There's a lot of hurt, not a lot of genuine healing happening. Remember, a number of people are not literate people. And you know to yourself that you're not literate. People are often embarrassed about it. And, you know, no one people take them and make joke. There's so many social ills. And that were part the corruption. The money should be used adequately, give fair accounting. People should have Yeah, I'm a really rate the sugarcane farmers. They really send one strong letter for the Prime Minister. I remember I noticed up on the NAT. Morning, talk to me. Morning.
Greetings again, sister. It's me, Ramadan, the King Negro. On the topic of the call center, I'm giving my opinion. Nobody have to agree or believe me or accept. It's just my opinion. Everybody have their own opinion and experience, but I believe that BPOs are the solution to a lot of people, young people, or any age of people, because they accept any people. But I also recognize that that is a part of the agenda, the New World Order, where the only solution to all those Latin America and the Caribbean, the only solution for a graduate is a BPO call center. And it's sad that you sacrifice as an Afro-Belizean, you sacrifice to send your children to high school and this and whatever education, and when they graduate, graduation to unemployment. So what bringing the employment solution? BPO. That is a plan, Mutabaruka said. It's a plan, because that is spread out through the Caribbean and Central America. So it's a plan. I saw that one. The second one, you mentioned language. Since European languages was imposed in our ancestors. Our ancestors, they end up and speak French, Portuguese, English, and Spanish. Sadly, no, they want us to be divided because of a language. Oh, you don't talk Spanish? Oh, you're different from me. Even no matter how black we are, but we don't like the next one because you don't talk Spanish, or you don't talk English, or you don't talk French. That's very, very, the idea from day one, division and conquer. Now, in Belize, I noticed a handful of people that have very good education. Maybe you have a black person, but the majority are not Afro-Belizean. And those are the ones that rule the business, those are the ones that control everything in Belize concerning money. When it comes to making money, and you could easily identify them because whenever you meet them, they don't talk to you absolutely in Creole, and they don't talk to you in what the test of English that they were taught. Because the idea was to identify them differently. So when they identify differently, it's easy to know. When you listen, I know I could tell you a few names, but I say no for call name. Downtown Belize City and surrounding areas, you have people in business for many years, and their children still in business today. But when you listen to how they talk, compared to how the Afro-Belizean talk, you could see the big difference that created a symbol as for class of one language, respect, one law.
Thanks. I really have to salute the callers this morning. One, because of the calling, and two, on a level of conversation, knowledge we wanted to share on point. And again, it showed the best of our minds to express for them position based on for them levity. And some of them, you could say, what they have in common, some of them total on different point of view. And how valuable that is, which is, I'm really shocked when I see the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association, strong statement to the Prime Minister of Belize, who is from the north. Like the essence of their conversation, for their letter what they sent this morning, is exactly what we would hope for when it comes to decisions that will impact the livelihood of Belizean people, not only the Sugarcane Farmers Association. And so I just want to quickly go back and read what I said to the Prime Minister that I thought was so on point and really rate them for their boldness for put it in a writing and be very clear in it. So there's no misunderstanding. They said, this is the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association. The association writes that those concerns, quote, reflect the serious concerns of our farmers whom we represent, particularly in relation to the alignment with multinational interests to the extent of impact to our highest levels of parliament. It's crucial for all voices, regardless of status, to contribute to the national dialogue, especially when it concerns the well-being of the people we serve. And they continue, as the leader of our country, our Prime Minister's perspective is invaluable. but so too is the feedback and criticism that can guide us towards actions that safeguard the livelihood of our farmers. Open dialogue and understanding rather than dismissal will ensure that we all move forward together for the betterment of our farmers, industry, and country. Salute. Salute to the Belize State Farmers Association, holding the government of Belize accountable. And that's why I keep saying, only the people and save the people. We know what's best for we. Not an area rep, not a run people left for the area rep, not for the minister, not for the CEO, not for the people with power. We would live it every day. Know what's best for we. And we need to stop betraying for ourselves and to take the crumbs of the give away, even if they want scholarship, or they want flight somewhere, or they want vehicle, or whatever they give away. What we think say, like we the people now because we get some material come up. We betray ourselves. We have to take one break. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Enhanced service and faster
back to the final segment of Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes talk show here at XTV simulcasting on Crumb Radio. Maybe we could take about 7 more minutes of phone calls because then it'll be time for Shut Up the Shop at 9 o'clock and hand over to Morning Stew, who probably could get your local news, community commentary, affirmation of the day, lots of laughter for sure. I love when I move around Belize City and you hear people tune in to Zinfen's programming and thank the people that will buy a newspaper on Friday and they want to subscribe online because you could subscribe online. Good morning. Thanks for calling WB.
This is the
morning, brother. Talk to it.
This is Belize. My main issue for this morning I want to speak about is quickly as best as I can. The education system, sister, it's really atrocious. I have to put it out there. I don't know what's happening in the school system, and I've been in it for some years because apart from being in the system itself, I'm a private tutor, right? I was advanced tutoring for the last, me and my wife for the last 10, 11 years we've been running advanced tutoring. And we've seen a level of students coming in just falling off. We have second to farmers who do not know any times table. We have people who can read well, but can't comprehend what they're reading. I don't know, the school system is not training the students and all they're doing is bumping them up. They're doing, this school system is doing a disservice to our students. It's not producing or working with the righteous and intelligent minds that we have in the society. It's really sad. It pains me. First of all, why have they eliminated PSC? What happened to PSC? You see, and nobody will repeat this.
Let me say this to you, brother. Standardized tests, there's research that shows that standardized tests is not the best way to assess children's knowledge. So then take out the standardized tests and what they have the portfolios. So what that means is when you go to school, because well, you go every week, and you say, make a semi-child portfolio. There should be everything what an assessment plan should be in that portfolio and an assessment tool with it so you could say what part your child is. You don't have to wait for one time a year, middle school or end of primary school for one. You want to find out along the way what part your child's strength and weaknesses there, and then the educator is supposed to put in one intervention for strengthening, instead of understand why standardized test is not the most adequate way.
Can I say something? I've heard this argument, right? Okay, I've heard that argument, but the thing is that we got standardized tests. I mean, an assessment is an assessment. And what I'm seeing personally, I work with students from across the board, from primary school way up until sixth form, and at different schools in Belize City. Across the board, I have students in almost all the schools that I've worked with students from across schools. And what I'm seeing since they have stated that, since they have begun implementing that program, I'm not seeing the results. The results are not there.
But brother, this is the question.
Do not know basic arithmetic.
This is one of the
basic consumer arithmetic. When they come out, they don't know percentages, fractions.
But this is one of the. But this is what I'm saying, brother. The cornerstone is our children are not literate. And once you're not literate, you can't master any subject. So you ask, infant 1, infant 2, standard 1, standard 4, 5, and 6. Right now, since last year, the government of Belize in state-funded school have one reading assessment, what they call Literacy Alive, only for standard 2 and 3. So how will you know where the children are as far as literacy? For say, okay, this is the part in there, this is what we need to do, forget that part I need to go. There's no assessment in infant 1, infant 2, standard 1, standard 4, 5, and 6. To my knowledge, if I'm wrong, bring the evidence. So I just say, brother, if you don't know what the literacy capacity is, how you expect them to do well in any subject, brother?
So the question is, whose responsibility is that?
Well, first and foremost, it's the parents, because they're our children.
Thank you. Right? That's another point that I want to make, because the screen time is killing our children's mind. We have to reduce that screen time, and parents are just giving the devices to these kids as babysitters. And I'm watching one of my students who were bright before, the more screen time they spend, and I don't have any real control over that at home. But I try to explain to them that yes, you could use the screen for something else, but then for learning, but most people don't, right? And so I
brother, most of the children, we're going to you and your partner tutoring sessions. Are they black children?
Mostly black children. Right? A couple like mestizos, but mostly black across the board, and mostly females, and not only that, my clients are mostly single moms. My clients are mostly mothers. Over the years that I've been tutoring, if I see one pack come in, Sister YaYa, it's like he doesn't really, no, I have a couple fathers that are more concerned, but across the board, it's mothers who are pushing their young children or their daughters.
I will have to go, but before I go, please tell people you and your partner tutoring service so they can call on or pound a day.
Thank you, sis. We're advanced tutoring, located on Farbers Road Extension. It's right up from Grace Primary School, right? 7429 Alligator Lane, Farbers Road Extension. Advanced tutoring. You can call 605-6725. 605-6725. We tutor from standard 4 up until high school, 4th form, right? At maths and all the subjects I tutor, right? Core maths, core language arts, right? Principles of accounting, principles of business, and the sciences.
Big thanks, brother.
You can look us up on Facebook as well. Advanced tutoring.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you very much, sister.
One love.
Have a blessed day.
Thanks, everybody. We're calling. They had the kind of engagements where I live for. We definitely want, again, thanks everybody we're calling. Thanks for people who tune in, will listen. We want to listen to the repeat at 3:30 this evening on XTV local channel. We want to go listen on Facebook, XTV Belize page, XTV Belize YouTube space. Share the link, engage in the conversation with other people. Because only the people want to save the people. Our security guard, when I come in this morning, was Roger Rushford, better known as Rafa. Right now, the security guard is Shane Flowers. The Master Chief Operator here at XTV is Alexi Belisle, well-known artist. And then we have Cliff Lewis as the Senior Engineer here at XTV. Downstairs on the second floor at Crumb Radio, we have Larry Guerrero, better known as Larry G. And so we want to remind Belizeans as we lock off for this morning that we have a duty, to ourselves, our children, and our unborn children, to stay actively engaged in for we own interests, for work on being better listeners, on being compassionate, being kind. You not always meet the goal, but make it be your intention. Start off your morning right. Get a good frame of mind. For some people, it may be more challenging than others. And have faith in the process that sometimes some of these changes might not happen in our lifetime, but that we are actively doing something to leave this world a better place for our children. Tomorrow on Tuesday, I'll be here Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, but tomorrow also protest day. So I'll be at the Ministry of Education on North Front Street without one permit, because for the first time the state no want to give me one. But I want to get out there late because WB done 9 o'clock, but I want to get there before 10 o'clock. I'll be walking up and down in front of the Ministry of Education building. YUB Education Foundation is leading. Today is day 209 since we would call WB and raise awareness about hair discrimination in the school and in the employment sector, private and public sector, calling on the government of Belize to right that wrong. I'll stretch talking about it tomorrow. Until then, only the people want to save the people.
Wake up, Belize. 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 Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We got to keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody got to put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show by people. Belize our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out. It's the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation.